One of the biggest complaints about Savage Worlds is the problem of the whiff and ping of combat. For years, people have been coming to the Reddit, forums, Discord, etc., asking why this keeps happening. But what if nothing is wrong? What if it's actually the secret to some of the most brilliant and tactical gameplay in the tabletop role-playing game space? Today, we're going to explore why that frustration is actually a feature. I want you to picture a scene I guarantee you've lived if you played Savage Worlds. It's the big boss fight. The villain is monologuing, your party is on its last legs, and it all comes down to you. You swing your sword, you roll your fighting die, and it's a hit. A raise even. The table erupts. You scoop up a fistful of damage dice, let them fly, and you look at the total. Then the game master just says, his toughness is a 12, your damage is an 8, nothing happens. Your epic cinematic moment deflates like a sad balloon. That is the whiff and ping problem. Whiff is when you swing and miss completely, and ping is when you hit, but your damage just bounces right off the enemy's toughness. It feels awful. It feels like your turn was a total waste of time. A frustrating hiccup in a game that literally promises to be fast, furious, and fun. A lot of players, especially those coming from games like Dungeons & Dragons, are used to slowly chipping away at a big pile of hit points. In those games, almost every solid hit makes a number go down. You always feel like you're making some level of progress. But in Savage Worlds, you can have entire rounds where heroes hit, roll damage, and accomplish absolutely nothing. It can feel like you're just spinning your wheels until someone gets a lucky exploding die. And that is a totally fair frustration. It can make the combat system feel broken. But the truth is, we might be looking at it all wrong. Now, since you are watching this, you probably already know how Savage Worlds works. We're not going to re-explain parry, toughness, or raise. The question isn't how it happens, but why it feels the way it does. The core of the issue is that Savage Worlds asks you to succeed at two independent challenges. First, an attack roll against parry, or a throwing roll or a shooting roll, and second, a damage roll against toughness. Passing the first test just gives you permission to attempt the second. And when the enemy has high toughness, that second test can be much harder than the first. This two-gate system is half of what creates the infamous swinginess of Savage Worlds. One amazing roll could one-shot a dragon, but it's just as likely that a whole burst from your machine gun will do nothing but make it mad. When you hit but fail to equal toughness, you've spent your turn and achieved a net result of 0. Your character is in the same spot. The enemy is completely unharmed, and the tactical situation is unchanged. This feels like a bug. It feels broken, but it's not. It's a signal. What if all of this frustration is actually the game trying to tell you something? Whiff and ping is Savage Worlds screaming, stop just trying to hit it. Do something else. Savage Worlds combat isn't about grinding down a health bar. It's about creating an opening and then exploiting it for one decisive cinematic takedown. An enemy's high parry or toughness isn't a brick wall. It's a puzzle, and the game gives you a whole toolbox to solve it. The best tools in that box are tests and support. Instead of attacking, you can perform a test. A successful taunt, intimidation, or athletics roll can leave your opponent distracted, vulnerable, or even shaken, all without you ever needing to roll damage. This is a direct answer to high toughness. You're taking them out of the fight by attacking their composure, not their armor. Suddenly, the ping problem vanishes because you bypass the damage roll entirely. The other side of the coin is the support roll. You can use your turn to help an ally, giving them a crucial bonus. This is teamwork baked right into the rules. The party's charismatic face character isn't useless in a fight. They can be using taunt to make enemies vulnerable and maybe even shaken, while another character uses a support role to help the group's heavy hitter, setting up for a perfect strike. Once you've made that opening, then you go for the kill. This is where you use a wild attack for a +2 to your attack and damage rolls. This is where you take a penalty for a called shot to the head for a massive +4 to damage, or target the spot of an enemy's body that's not covered in armor. That's how you punch through high toughness. The whiff problem is solved by ganging up on a foe for a bonus to fighting, or by using a test to make them vulnerable. And these are just some of the options available in the game. You can use armor-piercing weapons, you can perform a desperate attack, and so much more. When you start thinking this way, combat stops being a series of I attack, I ping. It becomes a tactical conversation. It's, okay, you use a test to make them vulnerable, I'll support the fighter. Then she goes in for a wild attack and a called shot to the head. You're stacking bonuses to engineer an amount where a devastating hit is almost guaranteed. That ping feeling disappears when you're working as a team to tear down an enemy's defenses and create that perfect shot. This philosophy extends to game masters too. If your players are whiffing and pinging all the time, it might be a sign that your encounter design is fighting the system. A classic piece of GM advice is to avoid making a brick enemy with both a sky-high parry and a sky-high toughness. A boss shouldn't just be a bag of stats. A more dynamic fight might feature a slippery villain with a high parry, but he's protected by a line of clumsy bodyguards in heavy armor who have high toughness. Right away, that presents a puzzle. Do the players try to maneuver past the guards, or do they use tactics like called shots to punch through their armor first? As a game master, it's also your job to teach the players of this new language. When a player says, I attack, for the third time in a row with no success, you can offer a hint. Are you sure? His armor looks thick. You could try to aim for a weak spot with a called shot, or maybe your friend could use a test to distract him first. You can even use these tactics with your own NPCs to showcase how effective they can be. Actively present these options and let your players have their epic moments. The goal isn't just to challenge them, it's to create memorable and fun problems that can be solved with cleverness, not just bigger damage dice. So, is the whiff and ping phenomenon real? Absolutely. And the frustration players feel is valid. But it's not a flaw in the system. It is the system. It's a feature, not a bug, designed to push you beyond the simple math of hit point attrition and into a more collaborative and cinematic style of play. Savage Worlds doesn't just want you to roll dice. It wants you to solve a problem. Combat isn't about a slow, grinding wear down. It's about the setup, the knockout blow. It's about teamwork, risk, and glorious reward. So, the next time you hit but your damage bounces harmlessly off an enemy's hide, don't get frustrated. Get tactical, because that's where the best parts of Savage Worlds are hiding. If this video gave you a new way to look at Savage Worlds, hit that like button and tell me in the comments, what's your favorite go-to tactic for taking down a high toughness monster? I'd love to hear your strategies. And if you're a game master looking to put these ideas into practice, you'll definitely want to check out my video all about creating engaging combat encounters in Savage Worlds, which you can find right over here. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay savage.